Stick to the forest track, keep your spirits up, hope for the best, and with a tremendous slice of luck, you may come out one day and see the long marshes lying below you, and beyond them, high in the east, a lonely mountain where dear old Smaug lives. Take it away, Cardboard of the Rings.
All right, here we go. Episode 124 of Cardboard of the Rings, a podcast about the Lord of the Rings, the card game, which is a living card game by Fantasy Flight Games. I am one of your hosts. I am Chad. Caleb could not make it tonight. He sent me a text right before we were going to record. I think they're really working him hard between Worlds, between the Fellowship event. Mercedes is cracking the ruler. He just said, Chad, I can't make it. I'm in need of rest. So that's all right, Caleb. We'll catch you on the next one. But I am not alone. With me is the Frodo to my Sam, Dr. Chris, a.k.a. C-Stan.
Hello.
Hi, C-Stan.
Hey, Chad.
Are you settled in?
I am, yeah. Very well settled in here.
Officially a Californian native now.
I don't know about that.
Okay. Are you tan?
It's been pretty cloudy, actually, these last few days.
I would still burn. I would just be burnt. Even in the shade inside.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying, oh, I'm sorry you had to come here at this time of year. The weather's horrible. But I'm just thinking, well, this is the most amazing weather I've ever lived in, so.
I think right now it's 15 degrees outside, so where I'm at. So I'm sure it's much better. We have a huge crew tonight. We have the entire behind-the-scenes crew. I'm just going to randomly start with John. Electron John is here. John, how are you?
Hey, I am great. Glad to be here.
John, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking it's a homebrew from a friend of mine. It's some kind of imperial stout. I forget the name of it, but it is fantastic. We brewed this about 4 years ago, right before my first child was born, and have kept it in storage, and it is amazing. So that's another podcast, though, the beer podcast.
I'd listen to that. Folks on Discord, we have a lot of Discord folks. Come up with a name for John's beer, eh?
Yeah, I was sorry to hear that Caleb wasn't going to be here, but knowing him, I'm sure he'll surge right back to health real fast.
Oh, snap. Good one. All right, with us as well is the second-hand Took, but he's second to no one. Mark. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fine. This has actually been one of the best weeks of my life. I am a deer hunter, and on Monday I got the biggest buck I've ever shot in Michigan, and it was a perfect hunt. Everything went great. Got the meat all taken care of throughout the week, and yeah, I'm doing great. You've been
awesome.
Super busy with work because you are leaving for Thailand? Is that right?
Yep. In about 12 hours, I'll be on a plane to, I think, Taiwan first. I don't know. And then I'm going to be in Vietnam, then Thailand, then Cambodia. Something like that.
Jeez.
Thanksgiving abroad.
Can you say what you do, or is it...
Oh, no, it's just for fun. I mean, I'm a marketing manager where I work. This is just pure vacation.
Oh, it's a vacation! Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. That
no,
sounds
don't
great.
worry. I called my credit card today, and she thought I was active duty, so don't worry.
With us as well is a guy who's lucky that we're not going to call him Ron throughout the show. It's Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Chad. How's everybody doing?
Good. Aaron's the editor, and he made a classic mistake of saying he wished he had a one-syllable name, and someone suggested Ron, and then he said how much he hated that name. So you are...
Blood in the water.
That is. But you do too much for the show. I feel like I don't want to do anything to make you mad.
I do not want to be Ron.
All right. No Ron. Yeah, Aaron does the editing, and he does a tremendous job, and I cannot thank you enough for it.
Oh, glad to be here.
And you are our token Minnesotite? I don't know.
Yeah.
You live in Minnesota.
Recent
Cardboard of the
transplant
Rings
here.
needs. And before that, you were in Montana? Or used to be in Montana?
Montana, California, Northern, Southern California. I've been all over.
All right. That's excellent. And last but definitely not least is Matt. Matt J. Hi, Matt. How are you, sir?
Doing quite well, thank you. So happy to be here.
So, Matt, what would you say you do here?
Pester you way too much, Chad.
You know, I was thinking about your role, and I don't know if anyone's ever seen Home Improvement in Tool Time, but I think like I'm Tim Allen, the bumbling idiot, and then you're Al, the one that makes sure that actually the show happens and goes right, and keeps basically the whole set from collapsing. So I really appreciate it. You did a great job of kind of, hey Chad, don't forget we need to blah blah blah. I'm like, oh God, yeah, that's right. Jeez, yep, better do that. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's help. John does the website along with some other technical background stuff. And Mark, we're going to kind of skip what he does right now because we're going to talk about it in depth later. Sound good? All right. The intro today was read by Dave H., who is also known as Bodhisattva on Discord. He is from Maine, and he's been on Twitch a couple times. He's one of the scrubs of Discord. And we're going to do a thing, Chris and I, where we're trying to guess the quest card that
Do you want to guess first, and then I'll guess first on the next episode? I think this is an easy one, but maybe I'm totally wrong on this.
Well, the problem is okay, I just posted it in Discord so people can see. It's obviously from The Hobbit, but I have a hard time remembering. Okay, so it's got to be before they go into Mirkwood. So it's the one of the spiders. But I'm drawing a blank on what the name of the quest is. It's not Flies and Spiders, because that's the first one in the core set. It's the Spider Hobbit quest. That's my guess. Yay.
Okay, well, I'm guessing Flies and Spiders, because
It is?
The first one in the core set is not Flies and Spiders. It's Passage Through Mirkwood.
But wait, but isn't there a quest card that's like Flies and Spiders? Isn't quest card B?
It could be, but I'm guessing it's from the quest Flies, the officially named quest Flies and Spiders from the first Hobbit box.
Okay.
So I guess we'll find out later who's right, or if none of us are right.
Well, I'm scrolling down to the Passage of Mirkwood. A fork in the road. Don't leave the Flies and Spiders is quest card 1 on the core set. So is there 2 quests named the same thing? I mean, there's a quest card named Flies and Spiders, and then there's a scenario named Flies and Spiders?
Yeah, the scenario is definitely called Flies and Spiders, right?
That's cool. Okay, I didn't know. I always thought I knew that in my head, but I thought no, that's from the Passage in Mirkwood quest. So I didn't think they had the same name. Well, Chris is thinking it's reverse, Spiders and Flies. We can look it up.
Well, the scenario is definitely Flies and Spiders. I'm looking at Hollow Bayorn here.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Yeah, first quest stage says stick to the forest track, keep your spirits up, hope for the best. So that's definitely it.
So there's a little trivia for you. The first quest in the Hobbit box is the same name as the first stage in the core set.
I think it's because at the time the core set was made, they didn't actually know that these saga quests would be made. Mm-hmm. And so there tends to be some overlapping themes. And I think this was meant to pretty much be the journey through the Mirkwood.
Right. Interesting. Well, okay.
Yes.
Well, that's why I didn't guess it, because I'm like, I didn't think they had both the same name. So there you go. All right. Well, thanks, Dave, for reading that and for being a Patreon supporter. And thank you to all of our generous patrons. If you're interested in supporting us, you can at www.patreon.com/cardboardoftherings, all one word. You can check out the reward tiers and see how you can record an introduction to the show. All monies collected go right back into the show and the community. COTR would like to send out a huge thank you to 2 random supporters, and that is Ryan S. Thank you very much, Ryan. And Lawrence C. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. It's really incredible. We've met all of our goals. we were going to make another one, and we passed the we were like, let's set a goal for this, and then we passed it. We're like, okay, well, let's reevaluate. So this is great. It's really great. I can't express my gratitude enough. Oh, that's Cepetus. All right, great.
Oh, nice.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Cepetus.
That is amazing. All right, Chris, let's get to the news.
Okay, the news. Okay. All right.
The only news, yeah. Well, the only news, in case you didn't hear, is Caleb's announcement about the big thing happening at Worlds got pushed back to December through no fault of his own. It's marketing, like he explained. He has no control over that. I just wanted to take this moment to thank Caleb for doing even what he did. Like, he had to go out and get permission to do that, to even say that there was going to be an announcement. And I really appreciate you taking the time, if you're listening, to do that. Even though it didn't pan out, that's fine. I'm glad that you tried. And we all understand that it's out of your control. The other news that's not official news is I have a campaign log that you can keep track of your saga stuff. And I've just loaded it up to Board Game Geek. It should be approved within the next day. I'll put the link to that file all over all the intrawebs. And it's a way to keep track of your campaign as you go through. It's an Excel spreadsheet, so it's easy to modify if you don't like the way I did something. It's got all the boons and burdens listed. Chris, you just grabbed it. I think it works fine, right? That's there.
Regarding the announcement, it has been interesting following the community and what they think this big announcement's going to be. Do you have any idea? Do you have a theory as to what it's likely to be, or do you have no idea?
Personally, I've made a very mental, like I've really tried not to think about it. I just want to be surprised because I don't want to set expectations high or low and get disappointed. Or I figure if I just go into it blind, I'm going to be excited. I guess if push comes to shove, I'm hoping it's something to replace the sagas. Some other thing in addition to the normal flow of the game, like the sagas have been. That's my hope.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm setting the low expectation at just like the next deluxe because we haven't had that yet.
Right.
I think my current theory though is that there's something special about the next deluxe that like I don't know if it's just a reboot of the sagas or if it's the fact that the next deluxe they're starting something new. It just seems really weird to me that the next deluxe hasn't been announced yet at all.
Yep.
Like if the announcement is something to replace the sagas, well then where's the announcement of the next deluxe? It should have happened a while ago. And that's
right.
That's what's strange to me.
Anybody else got a thought?
Yeah, I'll go with campaign mode. In just it's a new deluxe and cycle with some kind of campaign component to it, and in it we've had a lot of discussion about kind of either a core 2.0 or kind of a core 1.5, where there's some modifications to. Small modifications here and there to some cards and some things that we've seen before. But, it's not a competitive game like Netrunner. If anything, if the core does get rebooted, it's going to be a very soft reboot, I think, where it'll come in a slim box like L5R and Arkham. And, it'd be nice to have a how-to-play guide and then have the rules reference as a PDF. If nothing else, that would be an amazing announcement just to make this a lot easier game to introduce.
I agree. Anybody else?
I mean, you mentioned campaign. I'm wondering if it could be an app. I mean, because there's no official campaign tracking app, is there? I know there's the log on the FFG site.
Yeah, it's so out of date.
Right, so maybe they're going to create some sort of digital platform, because I feel like that's what a lot of tabletop games are doing these days.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'm excited no matter what.
I just shrugged at my microphone. I don't know why I did that.
I know. I just did the thing where I flipped my hand up in the air, like palm side up, and raised my shoulder. I don't know who I'm doing that to. All right, Mark, why don't you tell us what you do here?
All right. So I have been working on the YouTube side of things. Chad, from what you've been telling me, people have started to notice the change in the thumbnails, as minor as that might sound. But my profession is, like I said, I'm the marketing manager where I work, and so you have to pretty much act as if no one's reading, everyone's too busy to look longer than a millisecond at stuff. So I was like, hey, why don't we at least color code the thumbnails on YouTube? So that's a very minor thing, but what we're doing is we're going to go back slowly, because I didn't realize how many videos you all had, and replace the thumbnails bit by bit. So right now, I think, Chad, if I'm correct, a majority, if not all of what's on YouTube are Twitch streams. Is that correct?
Majority for sure, yes.
Okay, yeah. So,
I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah, I browsed through. I didn't see anything different. So anyway, yeah. So all the Twitch streams are going to be color coded purple. Just kind of an arbitrary choice, but I'm going to try to keep it to the spheres first, and then working on the podcasts as well, and those are going to be color coded blue. Again, just because it looks nice. Nothing directed towards the spirit sphere or anything. But that leads me into the next thing, which the podcast is going to be converted to YouTube. Hopefully a week after every episode. Of course, here I am going abroad, so that's not going to happen this time. But
no, I'm still holding you to it.
Oh yeah, I don't have the data. I don't have the data plan for that.
Oh God, yeah.
But yeah, so I'm a huge fan of Magic the Gathering as just one of the many vices I have in this hobby, and so what a lot of they have a lot of competition in that world for podcasts, and one in particular is called the Command Zone, and they have just like a running slideshow in the background, but what people have started to do is animate the cards, where they cut out bits of the images and create like a sort of moving, I don't know, it's hard to describe, and you all behind the scenes have seen it, so you know what I'm talking about, and people will see it soon.
It blew my mind.
Well, I'm glad.
Mine too, yeah. It's amazing that you can do that.
I mean, it's a little bit of Photoshop work, but it's fun, because you really get to, I mean, my favorite thing about the blog that I run every once in a while, and it's been quite a bit, though, is just looking at the art. And this is, I think, a cool chance just to kind of showcase the art. And it's funny because I've been listening to all the older podcasts, and you guys always say, like, oh, bad podcasting, we're talking about the art. And this is at least an opportunity to, have it in the spotlight.
Oh, I think it's great. And when you did, the first one you did, I think, was To the Sea.
Yeah. And I might be able to share that in the Discord. So keep talking. I'm going to go find it.
Star? That's the first one I saw.
I think that was the second one. Yeah. I think that was the second one, because To the Sea, you're like, hey, check this out. And at first I didn't notice what was happening, because I think I was looking at it on my phone while my kids were, talking to me about something, or I don't know. I was multitasking. And so I was kind of waiting for something to happen. And then at the very end, I noticed what was happening. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I backed it up and watched the video again. And I was like, oh my God, how are you doing this? And then you did Evening Star. That was amazing.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll get the Dropbox links.
So I think this is a pretty huge announcement. So he's going to start doing the backlogged episodes too. So all the previous recordings, all 122 episodes, are eventually going to make their way to YouTube. And the thing that is really nice, and Aaron, I think you might have commented on this, is if you don't have a super deep knowledge of the card pool, then watching it on YouTube, we'll have the cards popping up as we talk about them. I just did. I used my hand and I made like a popping up. I don't know. They'll be popping fingers. Up. Yeah. And so you can read the cards as we talk about them. So it's just another avenue to basically listen and watch COTR, and more LOTR content is good content as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you have a pretty good understanding of the card pool, you can think of it as just a glorified screensaver, maybe while you're at work or doing other stuff. And if you maybe aren't as familiar with whatever cards you guys are talking about, it's a good reference. So, I mean, again, it's something that I took, again, from the Command Zone, because the Magic card pool, for anybody who plays that, I mean, you got 20 years of cards, and so you have no idea what the heck people are usually talking about.
Sure.
And it's already, I think, complicated. Lord of the Rings is getting big enough where it's easy to forget what a card does, especially when the interactions start to get complicated. So it's definitely a good way to see what the cards do.
Or the name of a quest, you just forget stuff. Sep. Oh wait, I want to say it right. Sep.
I just want to say I really like that we're doing this, because I think it would be great for new players who want to listen to the podcast but don't have an idea of like the latest cards that have come out.
Right.
We often bring up card names. How many card names was it that we mentioned in the interview with Caleb?
Oh, it was like the number on my folder was 113, but we'll say 105 because I had to download some duplicates.
Okay, yeah.
That blows my mind.
I didn't even realize we had mentioned that many cards. If you had asked me, I probably would have said 20 or something.
Right.
But and we obviously don't explain what each card does. So.
Oh, and I should have kept track of it, but I just edited last week what episode was it? Was it the yeah, it was the one where Brandon and all them did their sign off where you guys were reviewing the Mountain of Fire, and Chad, you listed off so many Hobbit cards for Rosie Cotton. It was quite, yeah. You just kept going. I'm like, oh my god, there's not even enough time for people to see everything.
Challenge accepted.
I know. I was just thinking
it was
that.
A challenge.
I'm like, oh, I can beat that. I can beat it. Yeah, Sepidus just said, how much work that is, and it's a ton of work, and I really appreciate it, man.
It's fun. I mean, it's what I went to college for. I have a film degree that I haven't really had a chance to use, and though I'm not really actually filming anything, I'm taking use of my editing. So no, it's really fun. And again, I love the art, so I just get to watch all this cool art in the background while I'm editing. I love it.
That's great. I'm glad you love it.
So I do have, real quick, just a funny little story, because I was just, like I said, I was editing the one where you guys reviewed the Mountain of Fire, and I guess, was that also the episode, Chad, where you went over all the custom cards?
The custom hero cards?
Yeah, for the hosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my girlfriend knows of the podcast, nothing specific, but she knows there's a Lord of the Rings podcast that I listen to and all that, and I got to the Brian cards, and I was currently editing the Bungee Smuggler hero, having that, yeah. And so I heard her coming in, and I was like, oh, I should minimize this, just because I don't feel like explaining it or anything like that. And I guess I pulled all the images from the Facebook page, and so when I minimized Premiere, and I turned to go say hi to her, I still had the photo album up with that photo front and center. And yeah, and so her face, I didn't know what she was looking at, and I'm like, what's wrong? And I turned around, and it was even bigger, and it was just...
Well, she's probably wondering, what the hell did you minimize where this is better?
Yeah, and I told her I was going to start helping out on this podcast, and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's still the Lord of the Rings podcast, I promise.
It's just Cardboard of the Rings After Dark.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I thought you guys might enjoy that. I didn't share that, I know, on our little behind-the-scenes chat. I wanted to save it for this. But yeah, it was quite the experience.
Well, I love that you brought up that card, so now you get to use it again on your next video.
Ooh.
Oh,
that's a good point.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mark. This is great. I think everyone's going to really like it.
Oh, you're welcome. And I mean, I guess, Chad, if you don't mind me saying, we already have, so we have two of them in the can. So
right.
We have the Caleb episode, Caleb of the Rings, and we have the send-off episode, Synergism, ready to go. So, I mean, I don't know what my data plan is like, but you can post them whenever you want, Chad?
Yep, I'm planning on posting them once the episode goes live.
Awesome.
I forgot to kind of go over what our plan for the show was. I probably should have, so forgive me for that. So next is the content of the show. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the Fellowship event again, and then we're going to play a Family Feud game, some discussion about the Family Feud questions, and then we're going to have a new segment called Miruvor, which we will go into when we get there. So, moving on, the Fellowship event is coming. It's 3 to 4 weeks away. And I recently found out Chris beat it, multiplayer, and so not to be outdone...
Well, not epic multiplayer.
Right,
but
right.
Yes, a few of us, three players, regular mode, we managed to beat the quest.
And I thought, well, I should try to beat this thing solo. So, Chris, do you want to talk about the 3-player experience, and I'll talk about my solo experience?
Yeah, part of me moving here to a more populated area was wanting to get together and play some real card games with people. And after the last episode, a few people contacted me, and we got together at an FLGS nearby. So we got together and organized a little bit beforehand our decks so that they wouldn't clash or anything, and we would have pretty much everything covered. And I kind of peeked at the encounter deck as well, so we definitely had an advantage over anyone doing this at Gen Con. So part of our strategy was to try to use straight shot on some of the bigger enemies, with using Rivendell blades to reduce their defense.
Now, Chris, before you go on, that's a combo I haven't used that much. Mm-hmm. You have to let them attack you first, and then it works when you're attacking them, right? Unless
you have Haldir, who can attack first, provided you didn't engage anyone. Okay. So we actually had... so let me go over the decks we used. Sure. Mine was like this Outlands vomiting deck, which gets a bunch of Outlands out relatively quickly, and then uses Faramir and a bunch of readying effects to ready Faramir, because there's no limit to his ability. So my deck is basically about just getting insane willpower numbers out. By the end, I probably could have broken 100, although that was never needed.
More willpower!
Jeez.
But I also knew that there's that location there that gets +1 threat for each ally of the person that controls the most allies. So
Forest
I knew, like...
Battleground.
Yeah, I knew that was a big location, an annoying location. So my tech against that was Thror's Key, which we mentioned on the podcast with Caleb would be good. I managed to get one of those locations with that. And so when the second one came out, yes, it was a huge threat increase in the staging area, but my deck at that point was just blowing away the threat in the staging area, because I could, trigger ready Faramir. I had Círdan with Narya, so that he could ready Faramir repeatedly, I guess reliably. And so basically that was the willpower taken care of. We didn't really have a second deck that quested for much. We had the other two guys focus on combat. And part of that was that one person had Haldir, and the other person, and he had a bunch of like Sentinel defenders, and the other person had defenders as well. So they would engage the player with, he had Spirit Baragond, and then Haldir would be able to snipe before combat, and once he got the 2 Rivendell blades on, you could use straight shot to take out the enemy.
Right.
And so we actually had, because once it drops to 0 defense, straight shot can just take it out, and then it would never have the chance to attack.
And
so we actually,
Scorpigorn works that way.
We had Tactus Aragorn in play as well, and Brand actually to help him ready Tactics Aragorn. But that was we managed to use straight shot. We had like 2 decks, like both the tactics decks were running like 3 Rivendell blades and 3 straight shots, so that it would be like a pretty reliable combo to get out. Yeah, so that's what our strategy was, and it worked. I don't know if I think we kind of got a little bit lucky. Some of the treacheries though really hit us hard. We ended up never being able to cancel anything. Like no one drew into any test of wills.
Okay.
The whole game.
That's kind of good in a way to hear you can still win without that.
Yeah. We were debating, like, should we use Eleanor because these treacheries are so bad. We ended up doing okay without her. I think actually someone pointed out to me after the fact why she wouldn't work so well, which is there's a location that when you cancel something, you have to when you cancel one revealed effect, you have to reveal another card. Like it's a location that gets stuck in the staging area.
Yep.
So that means Eleanor, if you cancel something, you've got to reveal 2 more cards now.
Yep.
And if you get a second of those locations in the staging area, you got to reveal. I think it stacks.
It totally does.
So at that point, you never want to use Eleanor.
Exactly.
And I think you can reliably count on getting at least one of those locations out there. So,
And especially in a more than one player game.
We're thinking for our fourth deck, if we were to add someone, we'd try to get someone with like a victory display, door is closed deck that could, like early in the game, play Out of the Wild or something and just take one of the treacheries out.
Yeah.
And then you have one less of those treacheries, but you can also doors close the other one.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about doing that as well. And then I think we're gonna try that again. Probably get together in a few weeks.
Okay. Well, I like your idea a lot because that forest battleground, it adds one threat for each ally controlled by the player with the most allies. If, like you said, if you have even just one use of Faramir, you're basically canceling that effect because it's taken away one willpower and you just add it right back. So,
assuming you quest with everyone, but yeah,
right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yep. But at least it doesn't sting as bad. I tried it with a bunch of different decks solo, and finally I found a deck that won, and it was Outlands. But
I'm starting to think that this is a key piece to victory here. But
I tell you what, it wasn't a walk. It wasn't a cakewalk. You know, I mean, there was a couple times I did the second most popular deck on RingsDB, which is the Rapid Charge of Outlands. Great deck.
That's a really good deck.
It's very fun. Aristor, Denethor, and Hirluin. But if you don't get out the Herdsman, which adds the +1 hit point to all Outlands, you could easily die because there's a treachery that the Necromancer's Rage that just all exhausted characters get 1 damage, and there goes your entire board.
Hate that card.
I think if you're in multiplayer, you should mulligan just to get that Herdsman guy because otherwise you could lose a whole field of Outlands on your first turn and be in a really bad spot.
Yeah, it's almost more important than the Swordsman. I think I had 5 threat in staging. I quested for 17, and I ended up having to raise my threat. Excuse me, had to raise my threat by 4 because I revealed the battleground. I'm like, oh, good. 17 threat location just came out. I couldn't believe it. Or whatever the numbers were, but it just sucked. I was really counting on making a ton of progress. That card actually made me raise my threat, and then a following turn, I'm on a stage 3, and I really wanted to remove 5 progress from the quest. I wanted to make at least 5 progress. I was hoping to make 10, and I revealed a treachery that says you can't place more than 5 progress.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm like, I was really counting on just dumping progress. So I still won, but I never, ever felt like, I got this. I totally got this. I'll tell you one thing, though. If you're playing solo, Aristor is the way to go, because that one stage 3 that makes you discard your entire hand, it's like, no biggie.
Yeah, actually, we kind of got lucky with that in a weird way. I mean, when you're playing solo, you have to reveal one of those like quests that you didn't choose and do the forced effect, right? And the first time we had to do that, we got hit by that forced effect where you have to discard all but 1 card in your hand.
Yep.
And then that was terrible. We lost our hands, but then every turn after that, we got hit by the same thing. And
that's fine.
That's fine because you're already at 1 card.
Right.
So we got kind of lucky there, but.
Go ahead, Mark.
What? What am I doing?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Gon.
Oh, no, I'm jumping in the chat. Yeah, no, Gonberry Gone, he wasn't too bad just to counteract. What's that one location that boosts the threat?
Forest Battleground.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, so, it's not bad for that. And then I actually eventually started using him as a decent chump blocker or archery soak. Because after that location's gone, he kind of loses, I think, his luster.
Right.
So you're saying he would get a bunch of willpower when that location is active?
Correct. Yeah, so he was pretty good for when that, because I think every game I played at Gen Con, there was somebody who was running Outlands or something where it just fell, the chips fell so that they always, had like 17 threat, and he was good to have out at that moment. But then he became useless usually after that.
Well, you would have to eat the threat once, and unless you had Strider's Path or something.
Exactly. Wouldn't that be the bomb combo?
That would be a nice combo. Of course, the forced effect for exploring that location is also pretty bad. If I remember right, you pretty much have to, each player has to find an enemy and put it into play when that location is explored. So it's like you don't want it in the staging area, you also don't want to explore it. Would
Distant Stars be some good tech as well?
Best. Distant Stars would be good. So would Mariner's Compass.
Oh yeah.
Because you could just swap it out of the staging area for a different location.
Thrower's Key has been pretty handy in the runs we've made at it here.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the best tech for it. It would be awesome if it wasn't unique, though, and you could put it on more than one. But
this is kind of the rare quest that I feel plays better 3 or 4 player. I know that sounds strange to say, but having played it solo and 2 player quite a bit, I don't know. I don't know if 2 decks can quite get out consistently get out the tools that they need to counter all the little things that this quest does. And I'm sure we'll talk about this more later before the Fellowship event. But that was one thing we've. I know Sean and Ian. I sat there and watched them take it down. But I mean, Sean was playing that crazy Gandalf deck he built for Brandon, and that deck's just, it shouldn't work, but it does. It's this weird, odd thing of beauty. But apart from that, I haven't had any. I haven't had any luck running anything against it 2 player, and it gets bogged down. You get about 2 or 3 rounds into being on a stage 3, and then it just the board state starts to get away from you. So,
I will say in summary that I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great quest and really fun and something I want to play again. Now this is coming in from having prepared for it quite extensively. I might have had a different impression if I was there at Gen Con and seeing it for the first time. But
I agree with you there, Chris.
I definitely think it's a great quest.
I enjoyed it once I knew what I was up against, and I had my entire card pool at my disposal. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you can get together with people and really coordinate your decks. I think anyone going to the Fellowship event, hopefully this is helping you, and then hopefully it's not going to be a pickup game. You might have 1 or 2 people that are going to be there. I think you're going to have a great time, but just be prepared. It's a hard quest.
Mm-hmm. Did you get any of the objectives when you did it?
That's a great question. I was just going to talk about that. I think a strategy should be, if you're not going to be able to get the 30 progress, just focus on the 10 and that's it. Yeah. And I was able to get the Host of Lorien. I was able to put, I think, 13 progress on. And then the Power of Lorien is the other one?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That one gets discarded, which is important to remember. It doesn't go out of play. It's discarded. So you put it in the encounter discard pile.
Really?
So if it just says discard this card. We even asked Caleb about that.
Really?
At Gen Con.
We did that wrong.
Yeah, it gets discarded. So
here.
then it can come up as an encounter card or a shadow card, and it's a freebie.
Really? Oh.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And it's not like a guarded objective or anything?
Nope.
What do you do when you add it to the? You just add it to the staging area, or do you discard it if you were to reveal it?
Oh gosh, I don't want to give misinformation.
Hang on, I have the cards near me.
I'm trying to remember what he said because I believe someone asked that very question.
He was really coy about, like, as people started realizing, those locations you can't travel to unless you're, in a certain on a certain quest card. He was kind of just waiting for us to figure out, those are only nasty when they're in the staging area, and once you travel to them, they lose that nasty effect.
Yeah.
Because we were all getting very frustrated and salty, and he was just kind of sitting back with his arms folded, sipping his Mountain Dew, and how he does.
And it goes to the victory display.
When it's what?
The Power of Lorien, when you use it, you have to add it to the victory display.
When you use it, yes, but if you don't claim it, it says discard it.
Oh, when you don't claim it. Really? I thought it just went away forever.
It would be on the setup
We don't really have a rule for what you do when you reveal an objective that's not guarded. I guess you just add it to the staging. I would say you just add it to the staging area, and it just does nothing.
Yeah, and it just gets put back in the discard pile?
No, it just stays there.
That is weird. It does say on the quest stage, otherwise discard it. Huh.
So
I think it would just stay in the staging area as a 0 threat, like a nothing card.
And if it was a shadow card,
that's how we
it would
played
just
it.
Get discarded again if it was a shadow?
Makes sense.
That's what I would think. I have no idea what to do, but...
Hey, it's a free card.
All right.
That's awesome. All right, so good luck, everybody. If we don't talk about the Fellowship event again, probably will, but if not, good luck. Hey, let's get to the...
Oh, bring Sulian.
What?
Quick tech, bring Sulian.
Oh, Sulian.
Sulian, yeah.
Oh, she's good in any 4-player game. Great card. You pay 1 lore resource, exhaust her, and she gets +1 willpower for each location?
She minuses 1 from each location, I believe.
I was close. Guys, let's play the Feud, huh? We had a survey put out. A lot of people really liked the survey. Cardboard of the Rings has always been about community involvement. The first age, that was a huge focus of theirs, and they nailed it. Always interacted with the community. And in the second age, we're trying to even do more. It's a high bar. We're trying to go even higher. So I sent out this survey for Family Feud, and we had a lot of people respond. So we've broken up the people on the podcast right now into 2 teams. It's going to be Aaron and Matt. And your team name is... Crinkle?
Crickets.
Yes, it's just paper crinkling.
Paper Crinkle?
No. We have another name. We were both on mute. Sorry about that. So our name is Mithril Money Moria Problems.
No, it was Mo Mithro Moria Problem.
All right, well, yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow, that is...
-5 points. And...
It's a long walk.
God. And... that's so bad.
It's really not good.
It's so bad. The other team is Electron John and Secondhand Took, and their name is Electrocuted Nuts, right?
No, we are the Electron Tooks.
Oh, the Electron Tooks. Okay, got it. Okay.
What did you call us?
I don't... it's Chad.
Electrocuted Nuts? No? All right, so those are going to be the 2 teams. So we're going to play Family Feud. It's fast money. So Chris is going to read them the questions from the survey. Now, interesting to note, Chris has not seen the results of the survey. So we're going to be talking about that afterwards. So he also took the survey, and he doesn't know the results, and the other 4 guys don't even know the questions. So Chris is going to read the questions, and we're going to have Aaron on first. Everyone else is going to be off. And then we're going to bring Mark on for the other team. We'll go over the results of them, and then we'll pull on Matt, and then we'll pull on John. It'll be the same thing where you'll hear them both answer, and then we'll go over the final scoring. But first, a 5-point question before we even start. And Chris, you can participate. You can take away the 5 points from one of these 2 teams if you get the answer right. All right? The question is... Now, if you know the answer, let me know. I don't know if this is public. How many people took the survey?
185.
That's John?
163.
All right, wait, hold on. The voices are hard. John said...
I said 185.
All right. Oh, without going over, too. It's without going over. John, 185.
$1.
Oh, gosh. These voices all sound the same to me.
Because that was me saying another answer.
Oh, stop it! -5 more points gone. All right, John, 185. Someone else.
163.
That was Mark.
I went 192.
19. Was that Aaron?
Yep, 200.
200?
202.
All right, so the highest number guessed was Matt at 202. The correct answer was 292.
Whoa.
Yeah. Chris, you're off by 100.
Yikes.
All right, so Matt and Aaron, you just got 5 points. And I'm telling you what, I think that could be the difference maker.
Well, with me going first, it may be the only 5 points that I get. So.
Aaron, put on your big boy pants and kick some ass.
Also, we should, just to let the people in Discord participate, we should ask all the contestants to change to a different Discord
good idea.
channel.
Good idea. Yeah, or don't have Discord open, and I'll...
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
I tell you what,
now,
say the word and I'll just go down.
Anyone listening live, you can feel free to chime in with your answer.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So everybody jump off except for Chris and Aaron.
All right, I'm going to go downstairs and refill my beer.
Excellent.
Okay, so we have 8 questions. I guess what I'm going to do is give you a minute to answer. If you want to pass on a question, just say pass, and I'll go back to that after we're done reading all of them and ask that one again. Sound good?
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Who is the most powerful hero? Remember, this is the core set only.
Owen. I said Owen. Am
Hello?
I on mute?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And your minute's up. Great job.
Name an event besides a test of will.
Hasty stroke.
Which enemy is the nastiest?
The Hill Troll.
Besides Steward of Gondor, name a 2-cost player card.
Unexpected Courage.
While taking a journey along the Anduin, what location might you explore?
The Gladden Fields?
Name a player card with an effect that can boost willpower.
Favor of the Lady.
Name a card that can place progress on a location.
The Lorien Guide.
Who's the worst ally?
Brock Iron Fist.
All right, well done. I
Wait, did you say something?
Brock
to that?
Iron.
Yeah, he said
Brock Iron Fist.
Oh, okay. I missed that. All right.
That's all right. Great job, buddy. I'm a little surprised at a couple of these, but great job, buddy. All right.
I think
They
you
were
did well.
all core set cards, at least,
Yeah,
right?
you did good.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go.
Okay, who am I calling back now? This is actually hard to remember. All right, Mark is
All
here.
Mark, are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, I'm starting the timer. Who is the most powerful hero? Remember, this is the core set only.
Leadership Aragorn.
Name an event besides a test of will.
Sneak attack.
Which enemy is the nastiest?
Hummerhorn.
Besides Steward of Gondor, name a 2-cost player card.
Celebrian Stone.
While taking a journey along the Anduin, what location might you explore?
Oh my god. Pass.
Name a player card with an effect that can boost willpower.
Blade Mastery?
Name a card that places progress on a location.
Lorien Guide.
Who's the worst ally?
Was that Lorien Guide?
Yes. Veteran Axe Hand.
Going back, what's a location that you might explore in Journey Along the Anduin?
Let's just say Banks Along the Anduin. I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Get a double answer on one of them?
Well, he's on a different team,
That I
so
should-
it's...
Oh, okay, this is a new team. Okay, I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if we were...
Everybody thinks about the Lorien Guide all of a sudden. For the first time ever.
That one surprised the heck out of me that you both said that. I'm just making sure I typed.
If it makes you feel better, it surprised me
That's
as I
actually the
said
one
it.
question where I answered and then I looked at the possible responses and I thought, okay, no, there's definitely one that I missed.
Let's go through the answers. Okay, so Aaron, you said for the most powerful hero, Eowyn. Ding, ding, ding. Number one answer. Mark, you said Aragorn. 59 points. For the next question, name an event other than a test of will. Aaron, you said Hasty Stroke. 34 points. Mark, you got the number one answer with Sneak Attack. 108 points.
Woo.
Which enemy is the nastiest? Aaron, you said Hill Troll. 105 points. That's the number 2. Mark, you got the number 1. Hummerhorns, 114.
Oh, really? You're serious?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not do well at this.
114. Yep. Besides Steward of Gondor, name a 2-cost player card. Aaron, you got the number one answer. Unexpected Courage, 119. Mark, you said Celebrian Stone, 46. Let's see.
I'll take it.
While taking a journey, Aaron, you said Gladden Fields. That's worth 25. Mark, you got number one answer. Banks of the Anduin, 163.
Oh my God, that was such a BS answer on my part.
It sounded that too.
I'm like, you got it. I can't believe it. It went from pass to 163 points. Name a player card. Unfortunately, you did not follow it up well here. A player card that can boost willpower. Aaron, you said Favor of the Lady for 71. Mark, I think you said Blade Mastery or something, or I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't boost. It doesn't boost willpower, so it's wasn't even picked by anybody. 0. Sorry, buddy. You both said Lorien Guide. That is worth 12.
We may be the only 2 people who've ever actually said Lorien Guide.
There was 12 people who said it, and it's not even the least popular answer.
That's surprising.
The worst ally. Aaron, you said Brock Iron Fist. Number one answer, 172.
Oh, awesome.
That stings.
Mark, oh my God. You said Veteran Axe Hand. Nobody agreed with you. 0.
Aww.
So that's a 172 point swing right there.
He does suck, though. You have to give him that.
He's not that bad.
I mean, he's not
Was it
Brock
2
Iron Fist bad.
tactics for, and you can attach.
No, I regretted my decision as soon as I said it.
All right, so the score right now is 678 for
whatever our team name is.
the Moria team, and 502 for Electric Tukes. So
Electron.
sorry,
Tukes.
Electron Tukes. All right, here comes your teammate to pad your score even more.
This is a shocking turn of events, I will not lie.
You did great. You hit a lot of number ones.
And then there was me.
Oh, okay. Matt's here. Shh, shh, shh. Everyone, quiet. All right, Matt. Chris is gonna take it away.
Okay, let us begin. Who is the most powerful hero? Remember, this is the core set only.
Eowyn.
Choose another.
Gimli.
Name an event besides a test of will.
Faint.
Okay. Which enemy is the nastiest?
Hummerhorns.
Besides a Steward of Gondor, name a 2-cost player card.
Burning Brand. No, that's core set. Keep going.
While taking a journey along the Anduin, what location might you explore?
Gladden Fields. Necromancer's Pass.
Name a player card with an effect that can boost willpower.
Celebrian Stone.
Name a card that places progress on a location.
Legolas.
Okay, and who is the worst ally?
Guard of the Citadel.
Okay, got it. All right, John, if you hear that means you've duplicated an answer, okay?
Just you making that noise?
That's me making that noise.
Do that for me again.
You'll hear it. Oh, we forgot to give the score update. So, John, you have some work to do, buddy. The score was 678 to 502.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry, man.
Whew. Okay.
No pressure.
Are you ready?
There's a lot of pressure.
It's 678 after the Mithril Moria alliterative whatever team has had both of their players go?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I gird my loins.
Yeah, that's all right. You got this.
I appreciate
Everyone loves a good underdog story.
I appreciate your mad laughter and then your fake confidence, Chad. It really is inspiring.
You just have to hit all the number ones.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think if you guys do well here, I think it's within reach. Are you ready, John?
As I will ever be.
Then who is the most powerful hero? Remember, this is the core set only.
Aragorn?
Another hero.
Denethor.
Name an event besides a test of will.
Hasty Stroke?
Which enemy is the nastiest?
Hummer Horns. Okay, the Troll.
Okay.
Okay, besides Steward of Gondor, name a 2-cost player card.
Ooh. Pass. Come back to that one.
While taking a journey along the Anduin, what location might you explore?
Banks of the Anduin? Not East Bite. That's in...
We'll go with East Bite.
I don't... Okay.
Name a player card with an effect that can boost willpower.
Protector of Lorien?
Name a card that places progress on a location.
Northern Tracker?
There it is.
Who is the worst ally?
Brock Iron Fist?
Oh, God, you came... Oh, you got a pass on there. There's a pass.
Yeah. Besides Steward of Gondor, name a 2-cost player card.
2-cost player card.
No pressure, but you absolutely have to get the number one answer. No pressure.
Gondorian Spearman?
Use the Force.
Gondorian Spearman?
Okay.
That's a really good answer. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, that doesn't hint at anything.
Oh, wow. This was fun.
Oh, you're just going to kick yourself when you hear the answer.
Yeah.
You hear the number one on that one.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so the first question, who's the most powerful hero? Matt, you said Gimli. That's worth 24 points. John, you said Denethor, which is worth
God only knows
3.
why.
Yes,
hey.
The number one
Thank
was
you, 3 people.
Eowyn, which Aaron got right. Okay.
I don't know.
Name an event besides a test of will. Matt, you said faint. 100 points. That is the second most popular answer. John, you said hasty stroke. 34 points. Okay. Which enemy is the nastiest? You guys, both teams did great. You both got Hill Troll and Hummer Horns. So you both, those they cancel each other out. Those were the number
Whoopee.
1 and number 2. Hummer Horns 114, Hill Troll 105. Almost a 50-50 difference there. Okay, Matt, you said besides Steward of Gondor, name it. Oh, you said Burning Brand. That's worth 0. And John, you said a 2-cost player card, Gondorian Spearman, was worth 26. The number 1 answer that Aaron got was
Celebrian Stone.
Unexpected Courage.
Oh.
Okay, we're taking a journey. Matt, you said Necromancer's Pass, worth 12. John, you said the East Bite, which is worth 21.
Hey, that is in that quest.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
It's been a minute.
Go with it.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
it's East Bite and Brownlands.
Yep.
Those two, when they both come out.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Brownlands was the one I was trying to think of, but hey.
Name a player card that can boost willpower. Celebrian Stone, Matt, got you 113. John, you said Protector of Lorien for 18. The number...
Does nobody use this card?
Well,
Protector of Lorien? Oh, yeah.
It's a good card.
Definitely.
yeah, it's a good card. I'm surprised none of you guys said Eowyn or Faramir, to be honest.
Better than what I said.
Well, I haven't said my answers yet, but I did
That's
say Owen.
Okay. Name a card that places progress on a location. Matt, you said Legolas, 44 points. John, Northern Tracker, 177.
Yes.
The number 1.
Yeah, that's the
Back
one
in the
I
game.
definitely...
That's the one you had to get.
missed out on.
You had to get that one. The worst ally, Matt, you said Guard of the Citadel is 12. And John, you got the number 1 answer with Brock for 172. Just like
Yes.
Aaron also got that, though, just to temper. The final score, do you guys have an idea?
No.
I don't even want to know.
Aaron and Matt's Moria team, 197. Mark and John, I'm sorry, 197. 1,097. Wow. Mark and John, 1,058. Aaron and Matt, you are the winner. What, 30, what is this, 39 points difference? Holy crap.
That's insanely close.
Very close.
You know what,
Well
Mark?
done, guys.
Audible high five anyway, man.
Audible high five,
Audible
but
high
I'm going to
five.
be haunted by Veteran Axe Hand and Blade Mastery for several days. I do demand a rematch at some point in the future.
That was surprisingly fun. That was actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was stressful.
Yeah.
Very stressful.
Yeah, the time limit really messes with your head.
Well, it's hard to go second, too. That just messes with you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pull.
Well, I didn't know there was a time limit. When you told me the timer was starting, I was like, oh my goodness.
Why? All right, let me pull up the results so we can go through the answers. Chris, what do you want to do? You want to go through your answers?
Oh, I can just quickly say what I picked.
Okay.
I picked Eowyn for the most powerful hero.
Let's
Hasty
wait.
Stroke for...
Let's say you say your answers and then I'll go through the 1, 2, 3.
Okay, I said Eowyn.
That's number 1.
For a
Number
hero.
2 was Aragorn. Number 3 was Legolas.
I said Hasty Stroke for event.
That was number 3. Number 1 was Sneak Attack. Number 2 was Feint.
I said Hill Troll for the enemy.
Barely a number 2. Hummer Horns was 3. The third was Nazgul of Dol Guldur.
I said Unexpected Courage for 2-cost attachment.
That was number 1 by a long shot. Then Celebrian Stone, and then Gondorian Spearman and Dwarven Axe had a difference of 1 vote. 25 versus 26.
I said Banks of the Anduin for the location.
Yep, 163 people said that, so 56%. Then the Brownlands, then Gladden Fields.
I said Eowyn for willpower boosting effect.
That was number 3. The most popular was Celebrian Stone, 39%, and then Favor of the Lady was actually the second most popular.
Legolas for placing progress on a location.
That was number 3 by 1 vote. Number 2, Snowborn Scout, 45 votes.
Wow.
Northern Tracker, 178.
Where was Lorien Guide?
Yeah, that's one. Once I saw the drop down, I'm like, oh, Northern Tracker, of course.
Yeah.
That was definitely going to be the number 1.
Yep.
And then I picked Brock Iron Fist for the worst ally.
Yeah, he ran away with it at 59%. The number 2 worst ally really surprised me. Wandering Took, 38 people. And then Horseback Archer at 25. Very interesting.
Yeah. Interesting, too, to think about how these answers would have changed with a different card pool selection. Like, I think if you extended it out to the entire card pool, there are some answers here that would still be the same.
Right?
But then
Brock Iron
others,
Fist.
Yeah, I think Brock Iron Fist would still win.
It's a lock.
He'd probably increase. Yeah, this was really interesting. So I did it like a man on the street type survey where I asked people not to have any sort of Hall of Bjorn open and to think of their answer before they pulled down the drop down. So they had, and I asked them to keep their answer, and a lot of people said they actually really enjoyed that because once they saw the answers, like you said, Chris, they would have changed their answer. So it's funny what cards stick in your head when you get asked a question. It's not necessarily the most powerful card sometimes. It's just, for whatever reason, a card that's stuck in your head. Does anyone want to take a guess at what the it's a tie, 2 votes each for the most powerful hero, the 2 that got the least votes?
Oh,
Glorfindel?
yeah, Lord Glorfindel.
No, it can't be Thalon.
It is Thalon.
Really?
What?
Glorfindel got
Is-
3 votes, so there's someone who got even less than him.
Done
It is
here?
done here.
He's not that bad.
Oh man, come on. Dunhere's awesome.
All right, done here. Why is done here awesome? Dune here. Why is Dune here awesome, Chris?
Mainly in light of recent cards have really pushed him back up. I would say he's one of the he's actually one of the stronger decks out there right now.
Right now, but in the core set days.
In the core set days, I would say middle to low
Okay.
in strength, because he is good at, like, it seems like certain cards in that first cycle were designed to be killed by him.
Right.
Like Hammer Horns and the Goblin Sniper.
Yep.
And then there's, the annoying crow, like Eastern Crows, what else am I thinking of?
The bats? No, that came later.
The bats.
Is there besides Blade Mastery, is there any core set card that boosts attack? Or a weapon that he could have held? Dagger Westernies he could have held, couldn't he?
Dwarven Axe.
Dwarven Axe goes on any hero?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It does.
All right.
That was what people mainly used, actually, to boost his attack in the early game.
Okay. And there's
not very efficient.
There was something we started talking. Oh yeah, it's +1, +2 if a dwarf. There was something we started talking about before the show started, and I wanted to jump back to it. Is how many of us out of the 6 of us actually started playing this game when it first came out? I did not. I joined in around Voice of Isengard.
I did not. I started in July of 2015, so I guess that was in the Angmar Awakened cycle.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm about 2.5 years in right now myself.
Yeah, I've been
end of 2013 for me.
Okay, 2 years or so. 2.5 years.
I've been playing since the course.
You did? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad one of us did.
I wouldn't say I was into the game as much at that time, but I definitely got every pack as it was coming out.
That's awesome.
Wasn't really part of the community or anything. I played with friends, but that was pretty much the gist of it.
And then you learned how to break it.
Yeah, my YouTube days came a few years later.
But I wonder if that put you, Chris, at a different perspective than the rest of us, where you saw the cards when there wasn't that many cards, and it let you really develop a unique understanding of certain
I don't know.
deck types.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have a memory of using cards that people might not touch anymore, like Dwarven Axe, or I don't know, there might be a better example. I think even jumping in now, I still think you can play progression style and get that same experience.
Yeah.
So, and I think many people do just that.
So something that was interesting about these results is most powerful hero was one of the questions where people, you could really stop and think for a second, and it's 48% say Eowyn. Now, the reason I'm glad you actually started with the core set is I'm wondering if you, when you opened the box, recognized how powerful she was. Because I think most people saw Legolas and Gimli as a tactics deck. They know those characters. Ooh, Legolas has a cool ability, so does Gimli. This other random dwarf has a neat ability. They want to play the tactics deck and then immediately get location locked on turn 2. And then your eyes shift over to Eowyn and you're like, so she can quest for basically 5, which is the same as if I sent all 3 of these heroes. And it's also the same as if you sent, I believe, all 3 leadership heroes. And I think if you sent all 3 lore heroes, it's 6. That's assuming you sent Denethor.
I think it was at least a year, if not more, before I played a game, solo or multiplayer, where Eowyn wasn't on the table. There was just so little options for getting willpower at that point in the game. You didn't have any of these 2-cost 2 willpower allies to put down. I mean, you look at Wandering Took, and he was actually one of the better questers in the early days of the game, and now
economy-wise,
no one would. Yeah, economy-wise, no one would give him a second look now if they want to build a questing deck. But at the time, 2 cost for 1 willpower was what you would expect.
Right.
Of course, apart from Celebrian Stone, which was a 1 of in the core set, and also made it into every leadership deck. So yeah, Pocket Wraith in the Discord says that at that point in the game, Lork Glorfindel was good just for having his 3 willpower.
Sure.
And yeah, I agree with that. It can be frustrating, especially hearing people new to the game wanting to play the tactics deck I have a feeling like if they went back and were to design the core set now, the tactics sphere may have been a little more willpower focused, or
not like,
or just
not
like a warning
not like a gimmick.
in the manual saying like,
Right.
don't play this solo.
Well, the tactics,
kind of thing.
the tactics deck, they tried to make it like a gimmicky way to place progress, but if you don't have an enemy show up, it's not gonna work. You can't.
Yeah, actually, the you guys know Rodney Smith of Watch It Played?
Yes. I was gonna.
He does a lot of YouTube videos.
I was gonna bring this
he
up.
Does,
Yep.
He does a Watch It Played of the Lord of the Rings, the card game, where he takes the out of the box tactics deck through Passage Through Mirkwood, and he actually ends up winning.
Yeah.
Through some miracle, I think he gets like an enemy out every turn that Legolas can kill, or something like that. He never gets location locked.
Exactly, and so many people comment
just...
on that video of that very same comment.
That was the first video of this game that I ever watched. Was that video?
Man, mine too.
Me too.
Wow. Well, there you go, Rodney.
Yeah.
I
hope it didn't inspire too many people to use that sphere, but
Rodney did it. I have to take that back.
I knew to stay away.
He was my second. I watched a Twitch playthrough of somebody on YouTube, but he was the one I watched to learn how to play. No, that's interesting because Chris, you hit exactly what I was just going to ask. Do you think, and all you guys, that having a hero that 48% think is the most powerful hero, the 5 willpower she can bring on turn 1, do you think that was good or bad?
Or 8.
Well, yeah, in a 4-player game, sure. Do you think that was good or bad for the game, having a hero that was like heads and tails above the rest in power?
I think if I remember my thoughts early in the game, I kind of wished that we had anyone else, even a little bit weaker, as a replacement. But it seemed like she was a definite crutch that was needed in order to get through the even the easier scenarios. I think when Spirit Glorfindel came out, he was, I think, the best alternative, in addition to being such an amazing hero on his own. But I think at that point you could actually start building a strong spirit deck that didn't include Eowyn,
right,
for the first time. And that's kind of why you saw him everywhere, I think, because people were just so sick of Eowyn.
Yeah.
And they were handed this amazing spirit quester with 5 starting threat.
5 threat.
That could attack. I think... And then there was some backlash to that as well. Sure. Because then everyone moved to Spirit Glorfindel, and then people got sick of seeing him in every deck. And then we had to wait a very long time again until we got another decent spirit willpower hero. So I think there should have been more options earlier. Like if Eowyn was really the only strong quester, we should have seen a good alternative show up in that first cycle at the latest.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
and let's not forget that she was she was the most reliable way to get rid of all those extra uniques you end up within your hand when you're living in a core set or first cycle kind of world, because the pool is small there and you're just packing your deck with all these uniques or all these things that you can't really use, more than 1 or 2 of. And it was great to say, oh, you get some value now out of those cards in your hand that otherwise be dead.
She was like the first Noldor. We didn't even know it. Because
I liked her ability. I think is nice. I think it. I like my memories of playing 4-player. She just kind of brings the table all together during the questing phase.
Like, okay, sure.
Everyone wants to help out and has that ability to help in the questing phase. Like even the tactics player can feel like he's doing a small part.
Yeah.
I'm helping.
So it's kind of nice. But yeah, having something else would have been good as well.
Because the one thing I wondered is if if it helped people deck build. Like if you had Eowyn and you're like, okay, she's going to handle questing. Now I can experiment with other heroes because I know if I have her in my deck, I kind of have questing handled for like turn 1, maybe turn 2. And I can set up my board with some other fun, some of the other cards and spheres. Like you could just say, all right, I'm throwing Eowyn in my deck. That's questing. Now, what do I want to do for the other phases? I don't know if I didn't really experiment with just the core set because I jumped in with like all the cards up to Isengard, and so I didn't play around with that. But I was wondering if having a hero that can quest for 5 helped people deck build when they first got going.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was definitely easy to see her power. Like you lose to being location locked once, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I see. I need Eowyn.
Yep.
Basically, so it's good for players that are new to deck building and can see her value like that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, the next question was name an event besides a Test of Will. I think if I just said name an event, a Test of Will would have probably been 98% of the votes here. Feint and Sneak Attacks and Hasty Stroke is like a third of those other two. Feint and Sneak Attack, man, they're still to this day very powerful events. Anyone got a Feint?
Yeah, it's funny that the way that question
actually
was worded, like when you say name an event other than Test of Will, my mind immediately went to Hasty Stroke because it's such it's a complementary card almost.
Right.
Like it's a similar effect, same cost, same sphere and everything. It was hard for me to have I don't think I could have even thought of Sneak Attack or Feint just based on how that question, because you wanted people to answer like whatever came into your head first. Yep. And so there's no way I'm gonna I would have thought of Sneak Attack or Feint. But obviously a bunch of people did. So
yeah.
What about Rain of Arrows?
Rain of Arrows got 2.
Hey.
Wow.
2. The 5 that no one voted for or no one thought of was A Light in the Dark, Grim Resolve, Lorien's Wealth. Mark, you're gonna have fun digging up all these images. Swift Strike.
Yeah, I'm doing that now.
And Fortune or Fate.
Oh wow.
No one voted for any of those. Yeah, I mean, I would have picked Sneak Attack. I think would have came to my mind right off the bat. Just because.
Sure, it would, because you wrote the question.
Well, I don't know. When I think core set, Sneak Attack just pops into my head. I don't know why. Besides a Test of Will, obviously.
No, I agree with Chris. As soon as you said a Test of Will, I thought of Hasty Stroke immediately. I don't know how I would have thought of anything else, just because the framing of the question.
It was 34 people said Hasty Stroke.
Yeah, we all had that moment where we looked at our hands and saw a Sneak Attack and a Gandalf in there, and like suddenly the light went off over our heads. You're like, ah.
Wait a minute. I think I'm onto something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone's discovered this combo.
I'm going to go on Board Game Geek and... okay, never mind. Okay, let's go with the next one. The nastiest enemy. It's funny because I phrased that question on purpose with the word nastiest. Because Hummerhorns, that's the nastiest, right? As far as, like, it's going to just kill you if it's effect triggers. The Hill Troll is hard and dangerous.
I might agree with you. I went with Hill Troll just because I think he's more memorable.
Right.
And so, like, people, if they're thinking of the first enemy to come to mind, I thought maybe more people would think of Hill Troll.
Exactly.
Before Hummerhorns.
Exactly. So that's why I did not phrase it, name an enemy. Because I'm like, well, that's going to be Hill Troll. Like, it's going to be ridiculous. But nastiest, I think there's an argument either way. Which one's nasty?
What about the Hill Troll's Budgie Smuggler?
True. All right.
You're welcome, Mark.
Oh, you. Okay. Let's see. Next one. Steward of Gondor. 2-cost player card. Do you want me to move on?
Yeah. Okay.
The 2-cost player card. Unexpected Courage. This question was basically think of a 2-cost player card. In my mind, I think Unexpected Courage is just memorable, but the rest there's a bunch of them kind of all grouped together here. Celebrian Stone, Gondorian Spearman, Dwarven Axe, Guard of the Citadel, Veteran Axe Hand. They're all...
This is another one where I think if you asked it now with a full card pool, many people would still say Unexpected Courage. It's definitely a card that's still in a lot of people's decks.
I think Rosie Cotton would beat it out.
Lately, yes. No, I have just started putting Unexpected Courage back into decks, and I really don't have a good reason why. It just sort of went away for me for a while, and then I suddenly realized, oh yeah, there's this really good card that helps out with action advantage that's been around since 2011. Maybe I should use it.
Do you guys think Unexpected Courage is overpowered?
No, I think it's fine for 2 costs.
2 cost in Spirit, like that takes a little bit of doing. Either you're running 2 Spirit Heroes or you've got Arwen, ditching a card to do her thing. But a lot of times she's ditching Elven Light to do Elven Light.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's fair. And it was kind of that card was a large reason why I filled out the rest of my core sets like I did. And then again, you really think I would have played that card a lot more than I have, but.
I think I would say it's more of an issue for me in terms of limiting design space than it is in terms of like being way too powerful.
There you go.
Oh, because any hero that... Okay, I got it.
Because it's just so... I mean, it can go on any hero any number of times and has no conditions for being used.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't... It's hard to... Basically, anything that readies a hero now has to be cheaper than it and have some condition. Otherwise, you would just play that card. And so that it really restricts the readying type effects you can make. Or you add some sort of bonus effect on top of readying, which is what we saw with the Armored Destro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, journeyed along the Anduin location. Banks of the Anduin, I think, just because it has Anduin in the title, it's easy to remember. It's also the best location you could possibly hit, since either your shadow card or your next encounter.
Have you ever hit 2 of those in a row and you just keep questing, just
imagining
blindly?
I just imagine the canoe just ricocheting from one side of the river to the other. I'm gonna go to this bank of the Anduin. Now I'm on the east bank. Now I'm on the west bank.
Yeah, pretty much you get 2 of those, and then you okay, I'll just draw my deck now and play it all well. Right?
Unless you're playing a tactics deck. Where's the enemies?
I was getting it mixed up in my head with the one from The Road Darkens that is actually a bad location, that if you're playing it in solo just hangs around and bumps up your threat.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the River Anduin, I think? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. You asked me that question, and I started to say that one. I'm like, no, that's not right. And then I said Banks, and of course you made your sound. So.
Right. Yeah, I know which one you talk about. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Player card that can boost willpower. Celebrian Stone. Of course, 2 cost leadership attachment. Gives you 2 willpower. If attached to Aragorn, he gets the spirit icon. That's a powerful card. And it's a 1-of, right, in the core set?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it's a 1-of, I think. Maybe 2.
It's an incredibly powerful card because it's leadership, 2 willpower for 2 costs. The Favor of the Lady got 24% of the vote. What's that? It's 2 spirit for 1 willpower attachment, right? So cards that can boost willpower, there's 5 of them in the core set. Celebrian Stone, Favor of the Lady, Eowyn, Faramir, and Protector of Lorien. Faramir. I mean, shoot, Chris, you're using that card basically to beat this very hard scenario that just came out. His ability. It's hard to beat. I don't think we'll see a card like him again.
He really is bonkers. I mean, that's just, there wasn't... You didn't have the ally swarms necessarily in the first, in that first cycle, but as soon as you hit... he was still good, through the Mirkwood cycle, but you hit Dwerodelf, and man, he's just insane.
Yep. It's like, let me slap down 12 allies, and let me slap down Faramir, and now questing is done for the rest of the game.
Yep.
And the core set even had an ally readying card, Ever Vigilant, right?
Yeah, and I use that in my deck to ready Faramir.
There you go. So, core set combo being used to beat a super hard quest that just came out 6 years later. Progress on a location, Northern Tracker. 61% of the people thought of it.
So expensive, though.
So expensive. It always, when people deck build and they're getting into it, and they're like, what do you think of my deck? And they'll have one Spirit Hero and 3 copies of Northern Tracker. And I'm
going to be waiting a minute.
And I'm just thinking, even if you put Steward on your Spirit Hero, why do you have other Spirit cards in your deck? Because that's, you're never going to be able... You're going to draw these Northern Trackers, and you're never going to be able to build up these 4 resources when you have all these other Spirit cards. Maybe 1? I mean, do you think it's always a 3 of? Does anyone ever just put 1 in their deck and just be like, well, you can chip away at stuff? Or
What, 1 Northern Tracker? No, I would never put 1 Northern Tracker
me
in
either.
my deck.
It's an all or nothing thing for me.
I might put 2. I don't know. There's just so many locations now, that are immune to player card effects or like have can't have progress placed on it while it's in the staging area, that kind of a thing. That I've kind of shied away from it.
I don't think I've put him in a deck other than a Caldara deck or a Dunedain deck.
Oh yeah.
Lately, like in years. Like if I just have 1 Spirit Hero, I'm like, oh, I'll put Northern Trackers in. I don't ever do that.
No, I have a it's Arwen, Elrond, and I can't remember the other Spirit Hero, but I'll put him in there because I can just get him out turn 1 with Arwen out there. But other than that, I don't usually use him.
Dennison on Discord pointed out Strength of Will as being an underrated spirit card, and yeah, that's one I've tried that out lately.
That's fair.
Yeah, and that's you just tossed. Exhaust a spirit character, not a spirit hero, a spirit character to place 2 progress tokens on that location. It's a 0-cost spirit event. It's like, hey,
is it the active location?
After you travel to a location.
Yeah, it's a response when you travel there.
Yeah, that's a great card.
I mean, that would that's actually in my deck that I'm using lately against Assault on Dol Guldur, because you get to one of those nasty locations and you pop it.
Yeah,
I could see it being useful if you're running like Warden of Arnor. You pop one on the first location that gets revealed, and then you travel, or you play like I think it would work with like Strider's Path as well.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it active. You can respond to it, put 2 more progress on there, and then potentially complete that location, and then you can still travel to another one during the travel phase.
Oh,
so it's a way you could actually complete 2 locations in 1 turn.
Yeah. If you can use it somehow during the same quest phase, you're basically questing for 2 more.
Right.
And clearing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's good for any location that has an effect while it's the active location. That's when these types of cards... Because sometimes I have trouble understanding, like, well, why is the active location so important? Because it seems like I want to not be location locked, so I want to place my progress on locations in the staging area more than the active. But then I remember, like, oh yeah, there's those locations that boost everything while they're active. Those are the ones you really you don't want to travel to, but you need to. And it's nice to pop them before you even get to the combat phase where they're boosting everybody. I'm thinking of some of the ship quests, where it's, if the attacking enemy is a ship, this location gives that ship blah blah blah, and you're just like, oh my god, I don't want to travel there, but I have to, and it'd be nice to pop them. I used Distant Stars to like remove those types of locations in that quest. Yeah, interesting. I'm going to talk about Snowborn Scout a little later. The worst ally, Brock Iron Fist. I mean, what the... I don't even remember what he does. I just remember it's so bad I don't even...
You lose a hero, you put him into play for free, I think.
But what?
Yeah.
You lose a dwarf hero.
Oh my god! Really?
Yep.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
There's really no reason he had to cost 6.
Nate, what were you thinking, man?
Yeah, I mean, if you're putting him into play for free, it doesn't matter whether he costs 6 or something reasonable like 4. I don't know if I'd even pay 4 for him, but in the core set, I think a fair price for him would have been 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you're paying like at 6, you're definitely only ever playing him for his trigger for free.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so the only time you're ever playing him is when your hero dies. And it's just a terrible thing to plan for.
It's like
Yeah,
really
I don't know.
crappy
It's like-
life insurance. It's just like, oh.
Yeah, I know. You lose a hero, you're like, all right, now I can put Brock in. Let's see. The hell? What? No. I'd
No,
rather have nothing.
okay.
This is
Sapidus, yeah, Flame of Honor. I actually, I didn't do it with Brock. I did it with Beorn. I used a top deck to Beorn and then Flame of Honor Gandalf to do some damage to the Balrog in my campaign. Ended up tossing Gandalf after the Balrog and all that fun stuff. But yeah, that was. I'm with you. Like he was in my mind for that combo as I was building that deck. And I'm like, I just can't do it. I cannot put Brock Iron Fist in a deck that I'm going to play in an actual game I care about.
well, when Ziggy first came out, I bet you people were pretty excited. Like, hey, all right, 6 resources if I can get 2 of
Six,
these, and
yeah.
then it gets errated. You're like, nope, he still sucks.
That's not even a nerf. That's just a sanity check. What they did to
I
that.
had a glimmer of hope for this card. Oh man. All right.
It makes me want 6 cost cards for every sphere, just to round them out. I think we only have the...
Next cycle.
Am I right that we only have leadership and tactics?
I think so.
Yeah, because the Houses of Healing is 5.
How's
Yep,
Spirit
that's it.
going to generate 6 resources ever?
It'll just be an ally.
we got
and
Ziggies.
you can put it in Caldara decks.
That's true.
Oh yeah, Ziggy.
Yeah, Ziggy Stargazer. I know, and that's such an engine that I try to get away from, and it's there.
I love that engine. Wandering Took. Let's see. You put them into play. You look at the top card of your deck, and you put them back in your hand to discard the cards. And it's
Man.
Isn't that what it is?
Wandering Took is the guy that you pass around the table.
Oh, yeah.
You reduce
Oh,
your threat by
well,
3
who was I
and
thinking
then
of? Keen-Eyed Took.
raise their threat by 3. Keen-Eyed Took is the guy that when you put him into play, everyone looks at
That's
the top
it.
card of their deck,
That's
and
it.
then you can make them discard it. And
Is he
then
our first
you can
grief
pull him
card?
back to your hand.
Was Keen-Eyed Took our first grief card?
No, is Wandering Took our first grief card?
Is Miner of the Iron Hills in the core set?
Yes.
Because he can be used to discard Unexpected Courage, which is in the core set.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
That's
And
funny.
isn't Deep Knowledge in the core set?
It is.
Yeah, I
that
think
could
it
be
is.
considered a grief move as well.
Deep Knowledge or Dark Knowledge? Because Dark Knowledge is in the core set.
Yeah,
Dark
Dark Knowledge.
Dark Knowledge.
You subtract,
Yeah, that's-
throw it on Eowyn or something.
No, it's just there you go.
All right, someone
Minus 1
build
power.
that deck. Oh man.
That
Okay.
should be a topic for a future show.
Yeah. When could you grieve?
Oh man.
All right. I think we've covered this pretty good, eh?
Yes.
All right. So now we're going to do a new segment I'm really excited for. We're calling it Miruvor, which, of course, is Elven wine, because we're going to talk about how cards have aged. Have they aged like a fine wine, or have they aged like a crack addict, I guess. So we're going to...
Wow.
That was a jump.
Wow. This just got really dark.
I don't know why my mind went there. What's something...
How about like a bottle of milk? At
Oh,
least keep it
milk.
to, like,
Yeah,
a
okay. How
drink or
about
something.
some milk sitting in your car, or a jar of mayonnaise on a hot day? There. Or an apple core. Much better than a crack addict.
Brock Iron Fist, not even once.
So, for this segment, we're going to be talking about cards from the core set and talk about how they have aged. We've each picked a card, but before we can do that, folks, we got to go back in time. We got to go back in time to the time of the core set. Luckily, I have at my disposal a time machine. It's, of course, a DeLorean, outfitted with a flux capacitor and all that jazz. I have the keys. I'm driving.
Dibs on hoverboard.
All right, you get the hoverboard. That's fine. That's fine. Hop on the hoverboard. All right, who's calling shotgun?
I'll take
All right,
shotgun.
shotgun. All right, type these coordinates into the flux. What is it?
No, it was the time circuits.
The time circuits. Thank you. I'm trying to find the date that the core set came out, and I had it written down, and now I can't find the sheet. It was April.
The core set was April 20th, 2011.
Thank you. All right, type that in. April 20th, 2011 into the time circuits. Here we go. Back in time right now. Let's go. We're here. All right, we're here. We're back in time. We're in April 2011, the 20th. We're outside a friendly local game store. We're grabbing a copy of the core set. We're opening it up, and we're going to grab some cards with the knowledge we have now and talk about the cards that we think have aged well and the cards that have aged poorly. Who wants to go first? Let's talk about some good cards. What cards have gotten better as the game has gone on?
Why don't you start, Chad?
All right. Snowborn Scout, I think, has gotten better. I think it was already a pretty good card. 1 cost, leadership ally, so it's easy to get into play. Place of progress on any location. When the core set came out, there was lots of 2 progress locations, so it was pretty easy to chip away at them.
Even some 1.
Yeah, it's true. There was even some 1s. And then you could just chump with him if you had to.
But wait, this is your guy who
Yeah.
This is the guy you're saying improves with time.
Yeah.
Okay, I would have put this guy in the other category.
Well, I think now that we've gotten Spirit Theoden, so he can actually come into play for free, and you save your spirit resources for something else if you have a leadership hero or access to the leadership sphere. And then now that we just got Guthwine, right? Is that the name of the sword? That can pull this card back.
Guthvini?
Guthvin?
Whatever.
The sword.
Go with it.
Basically, you kill somebody with the sword, so it's a leadership sword. You kill somebody, and then you can bring a Rohan character from your discard pile back into your hand. I think that's made the Snowborn Scout really good in a Rohan deck because you can play him for free. You kill something. Oh, you use him to defend as a chump. He dies. You kill something, and then the next turn you bring him back in again for free, and you just kind of keep repeating this pseudo, I don't know what you'd even want to call it, like feint almost.
I'm just thinking of the locations themselves. Like, he's not nearly as good at completing them nowadays because I rarely ever see a location that has 1 progress that isn't immune to player card effects.
True.
That he could actually complete. So, I mean, in the core set you had the East Bite, right?
Right.
Where it was like 5 threat and 1 progress. That he was just incredible. Or okay,
That's why he existed.
I've been corrected. It's the
Brown
brown
right,
lance,
but that's kind of you're thinking this is why this card exists, basically.
Yeah, basically he was just so incredible at completing that specific like major roadblock. And nowadays I don't ever see like him do anything that great. I mean, he's great. Your example, I would say, okay, he's good, but his primary function of placing that 1 progress, I'm not as excited about anymore.
I'll agree with you on that. I don't like him more because I think his ability has gotten better. I like him more for the deck he fits in now, because what I've found when I build a Rohan deck, I'm always short on spirit resources because I'm paying for mounts and certain weapons and events, and I'm always wishing I had 1 more spirit resource. And I love that with any leadership hero, I'm saving all my spirit resources and using Theoden's ability basically every round to get a free ally in. That, I don't know, I've just found that in Rohan decks, sometimes defense can be a problem, and just having this chump blocker out every single turn once I get the sword, it saved my butt quite a bit, and it's started to make some of my Rohan decks actually work. So, the sword...
Yeah,
okay.
I could see a case.
I guess. I mean, I would... Nowadays, I'd put the horse breeder in to fulfill that role, because she's also 1 cost.
Oh, for sure.
And can also chump and grabs you a card.
Yep.
And I consider the card draw a little more useful these days than the 1 progress.
I'm not going to disagree with you there.
But, maybe throw both in your deck if you really want chumps. But
yeah, she's better than Snowborn Scout. I'm not gonna disagree with you there. I think what it is basically is he was a card that for a long time I was just like, who cares? And now I found a good use for him. So I thought it was kind of cool. Like, I'm like, oh, well, here's a card that I used to never put in my decks, and now I can. And I think that's good to find a core set card that can get some resurgence. Now, I know some people were thinking I was going to say Blade Mastery. That card is actually really good. +1 attack, +1 defense, tactics event. I think that card's aged very well. Chris, you're next.
It does not grant willpower.
Does not grant willpower.
So I went with Glowin, because I think...
Sorry, we said Chris, not Sean.
Yeah. Yeah, channeling some Sean here, bud.
Yeah. I'm carrying Sean's torch now. I actually love Glowing Hero as well. But I would say he was decent in the core set. Your healing options, though, were kind of expensive. Now we have a lot of great healing options. Elrond, of course, was a major one. But then the Warden of Healing, and stuff like
Yorth.
Ioreth, yeah, as well. Like every new healing card that comes out makes him a little bit better. And now we have. I feel like in the core set the healing was a lot more expensive than it is now, and so I would say he's aged well in that he's now can be like a cornerstone of a power deck that's quite effective, and he just keeps getting stronger every time a hit point bonus attachment comes out. Anytime a healing card comes out, he just gets better and better and better.
And he's fun too.
Yeah, he's fun. It's such a great mechanic.
Increases.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard sometimes to put a price on good versus fun, because just having sometimes just a fun hero that does a fun effect, even if it's not the most powerful.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a new healing card came out, like Iorth came out. Okay, going in my glowing deck, playing this deck again, just to see how much better it is.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's a great one. Mark, you're next.
All right, so I picked Tactics Gimli as mine. And I don't know, I think I used him. I was one of those guys who immediately went to the core Tactics out of the box deck and was immediately disappointed and didn't touch any of those heroes except Legolas for a while. And I think, because I came in around Voice of Isengard, and I think Gimli was pretty much off a lot of people's radar. And it wasn't until, what's the one card? Hang on, let me pull it up. Vigilant Guard from the Storm on Kobos Haven when that came out, which I think pretty much that's Gimli in the art. I immediately wanted to slap that on him, and I have a mono tactics deck where I run that with Tactics Gimli, Beorn, and Mablung, just so I can at least get it out on turn one. And it's pretty awesome, just because Gimli, you don't have to do much to get him to attack nowadays for a high enough attack, and with what's the other attachment that Brandon loves? Grappling Hook. Typically, I can throw a Grappling Hook on Gimli now, and he can quest in a pinch if the other players aren't able to push through. So I think Tactics Gimli has just gotten better, similar to as healing cards get introduced, as there's more of these cancel damage effects or mitigate damage being dealt effects. Tactics Gimli just gets better.
Right, and what do you think with the new hero Legolas? Do you think that helped or didn't matter?
I mean, I don't know. I think I jumped on that bandwagon where I was using the new Legolas with the new Gimli. I haven't really toyed around with mixing and matching those guys, like their new counterparts of their old ones yet.
Because he would, give him a +1 defense, and he wouldn't be able to do any readying.
I've done new Gimli with old Legolas, and that was kind of fun, but I haven't tried it the other way.
I've done that
yet.
as well. Yeah, I haven't done it the other way. All right, there you go. A deck.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's a fun way to. Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in seeing an old Gimli with a new Legolas deck to see if anyone could get that to work.
There you go.
Aaron, I'm interested about this one.
Oh. Yeah, I think I went a little bit different way here. So this is the first card game I really have ever played. I think I played 1 or 2 hands of Magic back when it came out in like '94. So this is really my first deck building game. Mm-hmm. And I really struggled when I just had the core set to even figure out what I was trying to do and how to put together a good deck. And the one hero that I always went back to, because he kind of had me covered situationally, was Denethor from the core set. I liked his high, for the core set days, he had high defense. I liked his flexibility with being able to do the scrying. He had a little bit of healing within Sphere. And then, I think I said earlier, I got in late, so I bought the core set, and then I jumped through the entire first cycle. I bought all the packs. So I started adding a burning brand to him, and I really felt like he was the first hero that I could begin to understand the game around, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. How do you think he's aged, though? Is there any cards that have come out recently that have helped him? I can think of one that came out. It's not recently, but I think I'm thinking of Merlon. I don't know, the one that reduces Merlon, because he's already 8 threat, which is pretty low, and then she basically drops him down to 7, and he's a good defender. And I always thought those two went well together. Just you could have 2 lore heroes. You don't even need a third lore hero, because those two together make a really low threat for you to be able to put maybe somebody who has a pretty high threat with them, and you could, especially if it was leadership, because then you could try to pay for some of those expensive lore events and lore allies.
Yeah, I know when I built, back when I only had the core and maybe the Mirkwood cycle, it was usually Denethor, Miruvor, and Dunehir, I think was the first deck I ever built where I felt like, oh, I have a moderate idea about what I'm doing finally. I don't think I've actually built him in Merlon, but now that you mention it, it does sound like a pretty good synergy there.
Pakarath is talking about Gondorian Shield. Now, like I said, I jumped in the middle. When did Gondorian Shield come out? Was that
Steward's Fear?
Yeah, that was the heirs after that.
Okay. Oh, the pack before Milan. Okay.
That was a little later. But obviously, Gondorian Shield works on everyone, right? I mean, any Gondor hero is going to be great with that one.
Right. I've always liked lore Denethor. Whenever I'm like, I need a lore hero, his 8 threat just always jumps right out at me like, well, 8 threat, 3 defense, Burning Brand.
And I play pretty much exclusively solo, so he's great for a solo player as well with his scrying ability.
Oh, yeah. Matt, you're up. Oh, are you muted? Yes, you are.
Fit the Argalad deck?
There you go. Sorry, you were muted. Start over.
Oh, shoot. Okay. I picked Gondorian Spearman. He was great in the core set, but so with all the direct damage that's come out lately, especially with the Argalad hero and Spear the Citadel, I just really think he has a lot more value now than back in those earlier days.
I love Gondorian Spearman. It just feels so good when he's on the board and you have an enemy with 1 hit point left. You're just like, I don't know. I just love the fact that I'm imagining him just stabbing this enemy in the face as he swings back his sword to get you, and he's just like, nope, and he just stab. Oh, I don't know. Direct.
Yeah. Especially those times where you count up how much attack you have, and it's like, oh, I'm 1 short. But someone on the board has a Gondorian Spearman,
Yep.
so I've basically killed him in a way, because next turn we're just going to defend with the Spearman.
Yep. Yeah, and like Matt said, or you put a spear on him as well, and you get him down to 2 hit points. And you're like, I'm just bypassing 4 defense. And there's something about direct damage that, I don't know, I just really like direct damage.
Yeah, he's a lot less of a chump now. I mean, you still have to use him in that role to actually get his effect. But, in the core set days, he was the relatively cheap ally that you could get out and chump and buy you some time. And you got kind of that 1 little point of damage as, sort of a last act of defiance before he's eliminated from the face of Middle-earth.
Right.
But now he's just that little bit of insurance that you're just like, hey, all right, we got it handled. Either you're planning ahead and you're able to use him, during the defending part of the combat phase, or you just get him next turn. He's great.
Yeah, you can actually keep him alive now with Honor Guard and maybe Raiment of War. He can actually stick around.
Yep.
Raiment of War is no joke.
No, that card is fantastic. Do you remember
That's
its
ridiculous.
text for sure? Do you remember the text on that card?
No, because I'm not Sean.
Is it 2 costs, tactics attachment attached to a warrior hero, attached hero gets, this is where I'm going to get fuzzy.
I thought it was character.
Oh,
warrior character.
Yep.
Raiment of War counts as 2 restricted attachments. Attached character gets +1 attack, +1 defense, and +2 hit points.
Ah, yes. +1 attack as well.
Which, does it legitimately turn him into a 4-cost ally? Because that's usually the thing with that card, is that it doesn't always...
Well, Spearman didn't have 2 defense and 3 hit points, so that's not bad. No, he's good. He's fun, too. He's another fun card. 2-cost ally with Sentinel is also good, right? He's Sentinel. Yeah, he's Sentinel. Even without an ability. Just, hey, 2-cost Sentinel. Okay. In a multiplayer game, you can't have enough Sentinel. John, what do you got here?
I have got one, and I will preface this by saying I play mostly solo these days. But our friend, Hennemarth Riversong, I think is aged well. He is a 1-cost lore ally. He's Sylvan. He's only got 1 willpower, but you don't use him for his willpower or his attack or anything else. It's that his action, you exhaust him and you look at the top card of the encounter deck. Now, you can't do anything about that card. You can't move it anywhere. You can't eliminate it. You can't toss him the victory display. Just by himself, he doesn't do anything special. He just gives you knowledge. But he costs so little and gives so much. Because how often in the early game do you need to know, okay, do I have a really nasty treachery or that big enemy or that one location that completely screws my board state coming off the top of the deck? How many times in the mid game do you need to know that? How many times in the late game do you need to know exactly how much you need to quest in order to, get through this quest stage and also handle the big boss enemy in the last part of the turn?
Yeah, like how many allies can I keep ready here?
Exactly. And so he asks so little and he gives so much. I mean, 1 cost in lore is not nothing, but since he's unique, you run 1, maybe 2 of them. And like I said, I play mostly solo. If I am running lore or have access to lore at all, he's in there, at least 1 of them. Just because if he shows up in my hand, I'm never unhappy.
Right.
Because as playing in solo, at least if the thing's going to surge. You know that in advance because he can't do anything about that second card. Now, obviously, his worth goes down as you get into multiplayer. Even in 2-player, he can be handy, but if you're playing 3 or 4-player, Hennemarth's going to stay in the binder.
Unless you're playing Sylvans.
There's that, and you just toss him around left and right. But yeah, he is an interesting. There are much more powerful scrying effects in this game, but you kind of have to build a deck around those. He's just this great utility card that if you're sitting there with a lore hero, you know what? Toss one of Hennemarth in there.
Right.
He might be your first card on your sideboard when it gets time to do that, but otherwise he might surprise you and pop into your hand exactly when you need him.
Yeah, I'd say in solo, he's still the best ally in the game. I mean, pound for pound, he adds more than any other ally. That knowledge of the next card is just worth so much, especially in solo.
And Chris, you've mentioned before that you don't use him when you first plop him down. You wait till after combat, and then you use him so you know your encounter card for the next turn, and he doesn't get wrecked by a treachery that's going to come out and deal 1 damage to each exhausted character.
Exactly. Or if you get this enemy is going to make an additional attack and you weren't ready for that, he can act as an emergency defender.
Yep.
As well.
All right, we're going to keep moving here because I know Chris is on a time frame here. Bad cards. Cards that have not aged well. I picked Corset Gandalf. Now, not aging well doesn't mean it's bad, okay? It's like saying something is warmer. So if something is cold and then it's just a little bit warmer and it doesn't mean it's super warm. It just got warm. This doesn't mean it's a bad card. It just hasn't.
Tell us why you hate Corset Gandalf.
So the reason I hate Corset Gandalf with all of my might. No, we touched on this. Sneak Attack Gandalf. Just think back to when you were first building decks and you had a leadership hero. I know my first 6 cards, maybe Steward of Gondor was my first 3, but the first 6 cards, Sneak Attack Gandalf. If I had leadership, I had Sneak Attack Gandalf, right?
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so now I build with leadership, and it's more of I get done building the deck, and do I have room for Sneak Attack Gandalf? No? Okay, no big deal. I don't have to have it. He's still amazing. Sneak Attack Gandalf is still amazing. Gandalf by himself is still amazing, but I don't find that I have to have him in my decks as much as I used to. He's more of it'd be great if I could put him in, but there's other card draw. There's other direct damage. There's other threat reduction. The card pool has expanded, and his Jack of all trades ability can be compensated with other cards now, where I don't feel like I have to have him in there. but if I can fit him in there, I will. So that's why I put him as he's not aged well. The other reason is Overhill, Underhill Gandalf, and Hero Gandalf. If anybody is playing those two cards and plan on keeping Overhill, Underhill Gandalf in play the entire game because they started out with low threat, or if they're playing Hero Gandalf, you can't count on bringing a Sneak Attack Gandalf deck to a pickup game or Gen Con or something and being able to keep it in your deck. I know I've played games before where I'm like, all right, hold on, wait, I got to remove these 6 cards and replace them with something else. Gandalf guy is here. So for those reasons, I think he's aged. He hasn't gotten better, basically. He's still great, but he hasn't gotten better.
I still use him a lot, but one of the ways that he hasn't aged well is that the things you would have used him for in the early days, like card draw and threat reduction, we have so many other options for that now. Yep. So, you might not make it in a lore deck if you're really just looking for card draw.
Right.
Whereas he may have in the early game.
Yep. Still a great card, though. I still love Sneak Attack Gandalf. It's still one of my favorite combos of the game.
My choice is Northern Tracker. So obviously he was amazing in the early days. As our Family Feud segment showed, most people think of him as the go-to location progress placer. But now there's just so much counter to his ability. It seems like in every quest there's something in there that prevents using him to his full potential, if not shutting him down completely.
I wonder if any other ally has directly affected quest development and creativity than Northern Tracker.
I would say there's no way. Ally, definitely no way any ally has. I mean, there's so much obvious counter to Northern Tracker now that I don't see any other ally that could have changed the game as much as he did.
Right. No, that's a great choice.
Which is amazing because at this point nobody uses him anymore because they expect a counter.
Yeah.
Right?
It's true. I don't think any of the Gen Con decks I saw him in it.
Right. I never see anyone play him because they just assume that, you're not going to be able to use him.
Yep.
So now they could pretty much drop the counter to him and just, because they don't need it anymore because no one's going to be playing Northern Tracker anyway.
I brought a Kaldar deck to Gen Con, and I feel like I didn't put him in the deck.
You didn't, because I think we talked about that, and I'm like, don't do it. They're not going to let you place Progress on, and I was right. You wouldn't have been able to do it. No, that's a great one. Mark?
All right, so I might have kind of picked the easy way out. I just picked Dwarven Axe only because, I don't even really think of this card at all when I'm building decks that have tactics in it. I never played a Dwarf Swarm deck. There's just so many other better weapons out there that this is least on my mind. And the 2 resources are kind of costly, I think, for what you get. And it's restricted.
2 cost, restricted, tactics, attachment, +1 to a hero, +2 to a dwarf, right?
Yeah, there's just so many options these days, and there's usually at least something specific to the trait of the hero you're running that you would never really want to use this, unless maybe you are running a dwarf deck.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't cross my mind in a non-dwarf deck. And I'm like, I have tactics and I want some weapons. I'm going to pay 2 for +1? No.
Yeah, I do remember at one point I had your favorite card, Foehammer, whatever pack that was in. I had that and a few other of the product, and when I was grasping for weapons, I would pull this in the deck just so I could exhaust something, but I don't touch it now.
Yeah, it was bad to begin with, and it hasn't gotten better.
Right, and like Procket Rate says, Dwarven Axe just feels better. It's more fun, I think.
And my Dwarven Axe. All right, Matt. So let's get to Matt then. Matt, real quick. Feint has gotten worse.
Yes, because... All right, so Feint will still save you, but at the end of the day, Feint is saving you 1 action. So I think in this day and age, when you're trying to build all these great combos into your deck, that Fate just sometimes doesn't make the cut.
Yeah, I do find I don't put it in my deck as much as I used to. Anybody else find that when you're building a tactics deck, you don't just throw 3 copies in anymore?
I've been playing a lot of Hobbits lately, so yeah, I still kind of throw it in there. But outside of that deck, I don't know that I use it as much. I think you're onto something there.
I'm exactly the same way. I'd rather have a sturdy defender than Feint, but with the Hobbits, Feint's a good what do you call it? Fail safe.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because if you can't count on it, it's an event. You can't be like, oh, and I'll handle defense with Feint. Well, that's not gonna work every time, guys. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Aaron, you picked an interesting one.
Well, yes. So this is related to why I chose Denethor. So back when I only had the core set and maybe the first couple of packs, the first deck that I really ran with was core set Denethor, Miruvor, and Dunehir. And I always, with that deck, I had very few spirit cards. It was mostly Test of Will, Hasty Stroke, Unexpected Courage, and then the card I did choose, which was A Light in the Dark, which was really handy back then with that specific deck. I don't think I've ever played A Light in the Dark outside of that core set.
God, I'm trying to remember. What does it do? It pushes the enemy back somehow. I'm trying to remember what it actually does.
You pay 2, you choose an enemy engaged with any player, and you just push it back to the staging area. So if my threat's above whatever the engagement cost is, the enemy comes down, I save some resources, I shoot him back up, and then Dunehir comes after them. That's it. Again, very useful in that one deck. I don't think I've ever even thought about it outside of that very corner case.
And it costs 2.
I can honestly say I've never played that card.
I think I might have had like 1 copy in a deck once. Yeah. I can't remember what that deck was, and I think I drew it, and I'm like, why? Why did I put this in my deck?
Yeah, I might have played it like the first time I played the Mono Spirit deck in the core set just to try it. And
right.
I cannot, but for the life of me, I really don't know that I've ever played that card.
Like I said, I put it in one deck, and I've never used it in any other application ever.
It's obvious what it would help, like which Aomir it would help, but it's like, is it worth it to pay the 2 to do this? I mean, it's a feint, basically, because you're avoiding an attack, but unless you can kill it in the staging area, you're just going to get it. I don't know. It's not great. It wasn't, like you said it perfectly. It wasn't great when it came out, and it has not really gotten better.
It was useful for that one purpose, and never again.
Mm-hmm. John, this is a card you were joking about, so...
Yeah, no surprises here, but my pick for a card that has not aged well is Horseback Archer. I know. I know. He's something, but listen, okay. In a core set world, he's not bad because he's 2 attack and he has ranged. He's a little expensive. I mean, he's a lot expensive, especially in tactics.
He's 3, right? 3 tactics?
He's 3.
Okay.
3 cost. 2 attack, 1 defense, 2 hit points. He has the Rohan trait, and that ranged keyword gives you that extra cost based on the core set and first cycle cost curve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he really... Okay, if you're sitting in a multiplayer game in a core set world, he's not bad to have around because how often do you need that? Ranged 1 is hard to come by, or ranged firstly is hard to come by. And the fact that he is 2 attack, that he is, just 1 behind he's 1 behind Legolas in that regard. And so if you're not running a, Legolas hero, which I don't know why you wouldn't be in a core set, but whatever, he just gives you that extra range to help out across the table. But these days, you don't have to look very far at all to find much better. You have, even in Sphere, you have the Galadon Archer. That's not really that new of a card, but he's 2 cost. And he's Sylvan, so you get all the Sylvan shenanigans. He's got 2 attack, he's ranged, and then he's got his response that lets you do some direct damage. In leadership, what is it? Greenwood Archer?
The Greenwood Archer.
Yeah.
One of the best
I actually just
allies in the game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just threw him into something. Yeah, he is great. So, he's got the action advantage there, and then, of course, 2 attack and range. So there are much better options now, and so, yeah, Horseback Archer, you joke about him, as kind of being this terrible core set ally, but really, in the core set, he wasn't a bad ally. He was expensive, but everything was expensive in the core set. Every ally was too expensive in the core set, except Hinnemarth.
So what do you think about Hirgon, Spirit Theoden, Horseback Archer? You can play him for 1.
I mean, I guess at 1 he's not bad, but there are better things you can discount down to 1.
If you had anything else in your hand and you did that, like, we probably wouldn't be friends anymore.
I'm playing that deck. I put him down. Show me your hand. No.
Yeah, just like if it's literally the only thing you can do. Okay, fine. But yeah, I mean, even with
you have other nothing else.
Yeah. He's a Rohan card that does not play to any of the ways that Rohan works now. Whereas Snowborn Scout, that you rightly pointed out, really can if you use him the right way. And I actually thought that was kind of an inventive way to use Snowborn Scout. But Horseback Archer, nah. He's in the binder.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's kind of crazy. And I don't know if you brought this up. I apologize if you did. But there's only 2 in the core set of the Horseback Archer.
That's 2 more than there should have been.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even get the full play set of them. Like, what the heck? And same with the Silverload Archer. They're both just 2s.
I'm going to buy a second core set so I can fill out my Horseback Archer.
Yeah. New players, anybody that's listening to this that just got their first core set and is thinking about buying 3 cores, don't. I mean, you can if you want to, but there are, apart from, Unexpected Courage. I mean, Celebrian Stone, okay. Getting that 3rd suit of Gondor, fine. I mean, maybe buy 2, but
just
that third core set. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Just proxy them. Just take a Sharpie, take your Horseback Archer, and just write UC on it, and throw it in your Spirit deck.
But you get Dwarven Tomb. You only get 1 of 2. Yeah, okay. If you're gonna go heavy after Caldara, then fine. You need all your toys. That's right. Enjoy paying that extra $40 to really max out your Caldara deck.
All right. Well, Chris, it is 11:01, and you said you had a hard cutoff at 11. So let's hop back in the time machine. Let's go. We're going back in time. Back to the future right now. Here we are, and we're back. Okay, we're back to the future. We are home, and we're going to go around the table and say goodbyes. I think this has been great. I've had a lot of fun with everything. Congratulations to the winners. I'm going to go with Matt. Matt, thank you for being on. Thank you for all your help. Anything before you go, sir? Oh.
I think he's muted.
Oh. Matt! Oh, yeah. There you are. Yeah, we got you. Just make sure you're...
All right. I have a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Whoa. Super robot.
Are you driving through a rift of time yourself? All right. Thanks, Matt.
My son was just chattering.
It's not making it better, man.
No. I think you're out of cell tower range. That was awesome. All right. Aaron, buddy, thank you for all your hard work.
Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to what I assume is countless hours of post-production after this episode and all of the technical difficulties.
Budgie Smuggler.
All right. Mark, thank you, sir, for your YouTube work and all your other work. Anything before you go on your big trip?
No, not that I can think of, because I'm just thinking about I still have to finish packing. So, thanks for having me on.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You know, Mark, I was actually in Thailand and Cambodia last February. You're going to have a blast if you've never been there before.
No, I have never been there. And actually, the nerd that I am, by the way, I am going to see if I can't find any Lord of the Rings card game swag. There's already apparently a lot of game stores in Bangkok. So maybe we'll have some cool prize options. I don't know. We'll see.
Jeez, we almost forgot. Yeah, no, it sounds great. There is one more thing. God, Chris.
You're welcome for the segue.
Yeah. Chris, we almost forgot again. We did. Oh, thank you. Well, take it away then, Chris. If you remembered and I didn't, please take it away.
Yeah, so we're gonna give away one of our extra playmats from Gen Con. So this is the playmat that features art from Listener Stokes' book that a lot of people were excited about. And we have some to give away to our Patreon supporters. We're giving one away now, is that right?
Well, we did one drawing before the show to simulate the supporters that supported us before we even aired an episode. So we have that winner. So why don't you go ahead and say who that winner was?
Oh, so that was Megan, right?
Yep, that's Megan. So thank you, Megan.
Thank you. And do we want to do the second one, the draw, now?
Yep. Yeah. So because we met all 3 goals, we're going to do the next 3 episodes. This episode, then the next 2. We're going to do a drawing each episode for a playmat to thank all of our supporters. So here we go. I got the patrons in the spreadsheet duplicated and triplicated based on your tier level. I'm going to hit the random number 6. It's a high one. That's Lewis. Lewis K. So thank you, Lewis.
Hooray.
Lewis, you have a... Oh, he's in John's neck of the woods. You have a playmat coming your way, sir. So thank you. And if that is something you already have, then just let us know, because we do have some other prizes we could send you, and hopefully we have something that you would like to have in replacement of that. So again, thank you to all of our supporters. If you want to be involved in any of these prizes, you can help support us and be involved in the next 2 drawings. Chris, anything before you go? Because I know you have to get going here, bud.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all the guests we had on today. It was a lot of fun reminiscing about the core set with you guys. But even more so, thank you for all the work you're doing for the podcast behind the scenes.
I agree. John, I don't think we actually got to you, right?
To me?
To say goodbye?
I thought you were just going to forget me. I thought it was the new Sean or something.
No, you're not. No. No. John, anything before we go, sir?
Oh man, this has been a lot of fun. It's just been a blast to talk with you guys and to finally be on the podcast and just chat about some cards that I actually know a few things about. It's been good times.
Yeah, I had a great time, and thank you, sir, for all your work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, that was episode 124. I had a great time. Thank you, everybody, for all your hard work behind the scenes. Thank you to the Scrubs of Discord. We will be having some Twitch sessions once my personal life catches up with my work life and I just have some time on my hands. We're probably going to start the hashtag of the bye-bye week. It's all going to be coming back. We're just slowly catching back up to all the fun stuff we've been doing. And I just want to thank everybody that listened to us on Discord tonight. Thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you to the John, Mark, Aaron, and Matts that are helping behind the scenes. And we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Can't get enough of Cardboard of the Rings? Then check us out online at cardboardoftherings.com. There you can find links to all of our social media platforms, including Discord, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. If you're interested in supporting us, you can at patreon.com/cardboardoftherings. Any amount helps, and it all goes back to the show and the community to make it even better than it already is. Thanks for listening.